The email arrived on a Wednesday morning, 2 weeks before my father's 60th birthday. I was at my desk at the State Department's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs, reviewing grant applications for international exchange programs, when the notification popped up. A calendar invitation from my stepmother, Patricia. Subject: Robert's 60th birthday celebration. Adults only. I opened it. You're invited to celebrate Robert Crawford's 60th birthday at the Watermark Restaurant, Saturday, November 18th, 7 p.m. Cocktail attire required. This is a sophisticated, adults-only event. No children. Please confirm attendance by November 10th. I stared at the screen. I had a 4-year-old daughter, Emma. I was a single mother. Adults only meant I couldn't attend unless I found childcare on a Saturday night for an event that would run until at least 11 p.m. I called my father. Dad, I got the invitation to your birthday dinner. Great. You're coming, right? It says adults only. I have Emma.
Right.
Patricia was very clear about that. She's planned this whole elegant evening. Having kids running around would ruin the atmosphere. Dad, Emma is 4. She doesn't run around at restaurants. And I'm a single parent. I can't you get a babysitter? On a Saturday night for 5 hours, with 2 weeks' notice? That's not realistic. And honestly, Emma is your granddaughter. Why would you not want her at your birthday?
He sighed.
Natalie, this isn't about Emma specifically. Patricia invited some important people from the club. Business associates. It's going to be a very upscale evening. Kids just don't fit the vision. The vision. You know what I mean. Look, if you can't make it work, that's fine. We'll do something with Emma another time. Dad, this is your 60th birthday. Your granddaughter should be there. Patricia has put a lot of work into this event. I'm not going to ask her to change the plans. If you can find childcare, great. If not, we'll celebrate another time. I felt something cold settle in my chest. So, I'm not a priority. Don't be dramatic. I'm just asking for one adult evening. Is that really too much? I didn't respond for a moment. Then, I'll let you know if I can make it. Appreciate it. Patricia will be glad to have a final head count. He hung up. I sat at my desk, staring at my phone. Then I opened my email and declined the invitation. Within 5 minutes, my father called back. You declined? I can't find childcare on such short notice, and I'm not comfortable leaving Emma for that long anyway. So yes, I declined. Seriously? You're going to miss my birthday over this. Dad, you made it clear that having Emma there would ruin the atmosphere. You're choosing Patricia's vision over your granddaughter. I'm respecting that choice by not coming. God, Natalie. This is exactly the kind of drama I was hoping to avoid. Patricia was right. You always make everything about you and that kid. The words hit like a slap. That kid has a name. She's your granddaughter. You know what I meant. I know exactly what you meant. Have a great birthday, Dad. I hung up. 30 seconds later, a text arrived. Good. We don't need your drama. Enjoy your evening at home. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I forwarded it to my best friend, Lauren, with a single word. Wow. Her response came immediately. What an asshole. But hey, you're free Saturday night. Want to do dinner? I smiled despite the hurt. Actually, I have a better idea. My father and I had been distant for years. He divorced my mother when I was 12. Within 6 months, he'd married Patricia, a woman 15 years his junior who worked in marketing for his commercial real estate company. Patricia had never had children and made it clear she had no interest in being a stepmother. Growing up, I'd split time between my mom's house and my dad's house. But the visits to Dad's became increasingly uncomfortable. Patricia made subtle comments about my clothes, my grades, my friends. She'd sigh heavily when I left dishes in the sink or forgot to make my bed. Your mother clearly doesn't teach you proper manners, she'd say. Dad never defended me. He'd just say, Patricia has a point, Nat. You need to be more considerate. When I went to college, I'd hoped the distance would improve things. Instead, it made our relationship even more superficial. Dad would call once a month, ask surface-level questions about my classes, then hand the phone to Patricia, who would talk about their latest renovation or vacation. I'd majored in international relations and French. After graduation, I joined the Foreign Service. I'd spent 3 years at the embassy in Paris, working on educational exchange programs. It was meaningful work, building bridges between cultures, creating opportunities for students and scholars. My father had never really understood it. Government work, he'd say dismissively. You could make so much more in the private sector. I could get you an interview at my company. I don't want to work in commercial real estate, Dad. I love what I do. If you say so. Just seems like you're limiting yourself. When I'd gotten pregnant at 28 with Emma, my father's reaction had been lukewarm at best. Are you getting married?
No.
Marcus and I aren't together anymore. So you're going to be a single mother.
Great.
That's going to be hard, Natalie. I know, Dad. But I'm ready for it. Patricia had been even less supportive. I hope you've thought this through. Single motherhood is very difficult, and it's going to impact your career. You can't travel anymore. You can't work late. You're essentially limiting your professional prospects. I'll make it work. And I had. I'd transferred back to Washington, D.C. to be closer to my mother, who'd been incredible with Emma. I'd shifted to a domestic position at the State Department's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. The work was still meaningful, still important, but it allowed me to be home for Emma every night. My father had met Emma exactly 4 times in 4 years. He always had an excuse. Too busy with work, Patricia wasn't feeling well, they had travel plans. He'd sent gifts on her birthday, but he'd never babysat, never asked to spend time with her, never tried to build a relationship. To him, Emma was an inconvenience, evidence of my poor choices. And now he'd made it official. She wasn't welcome at his birthday. What my father didn't know, what he'd never bothered to ask about, was the nature of my work at the State Department. I wasn't just a program officer. I was the director of the International Visitor Leadership Program, one of the State Department's flagship professional exchange initiatives. I managed a $60 million budget. I oversaw programs that brought emerging leaders from around the world to the United States for cultural and professional exchange. It was prestigious work. It required top-secret security clearance. It put me in regular contact with ambassadors, senior government officials, and business leaders from around the world. One of those contacts was Governor Michael Chun of our state. I'd first met Governor Chun 7 years ago when he was a state senator working on international trade policy. I'd coordinated his participation in an exchange program with Japanese business leaders. We'd stayed in touch over the years as his career progressed. When he'd become governor 3 years ago, he'd asked me to serve on his International Trade Advisory Council. I'd accepted. We met quarterly to discuss economic partnerships and cultural exchange opportunities. Over time, we'd become genuine friends. He'd been incredibly supportive when I'd gotten pregnant with Emma. When Marcus had abandoned us, Governor Chin had checked in regularly, offered advice, sent thoughtful gifts. Family is everything, he'd said. If you ever need anything at all, you call me. When Emma was born, I'd asked Governor Chin to be her godfather. He'd been honored. He'd taken the role seriously, visiting when his schedule allowed, sending birthday gifts, calling to check on her. He was more of a grandfather to Emma than my actual father had ever been. My father didn't know any of this. He'd never asked about my work in any detail. He didn't know I served on the governor's advisory council. He didn't know the governor was Emma's godfather. He'd never cared enough to ask. On Thursday morning, I called Governor Chen's office. Natalie,
How are you?
how's my goddaughter? We're good, Governor. Listen, I have a strange favor to ask. Anything. What do you need? I explained the situation. My father's birthday dinner. The adults-only invitation. The dismissive text about drama. Governor Chin was quiet for a moment. Then, your father uninvited his granddaughter from his birthday because a 4-year-old would ruin the atmosphere? That's the situation. And he sent you a text saying he didn't need your drama? Yes. What restaurant? The Watermark. Saturday at 7. He laughed. I know the Watermark very well. I'm friendly with the owner. In fact, I was planning to have dinner there Saturday night anyway. What if Emma and I had dinner together? You could join us, of course. Governor, I couldn't ask you to. You're not asking. I'm offering. I'd love to spend an evening with my goddaughter. And if your father happens to see us there, well, that's just a coincidence. I smiled. Are you sure? Absolutely. In fact, let me make the reservation. The owner will make sure we get the best table in the house. 7 o'clock. Perfect. Excellent. And Natalie? Wear something nice. Emma too. We're going to have a wonderful evening. After we hung up, I sat at my desk, smiling. My father wanted an elegant, sophisticated evening without the drama of his granddaughter. He was going to get exactly what he asked for. Saturday evening, I dressed Emma in the beautiful navy blue dress my mother had bought her for special occasions. I did her hair in 2 French braids. She looked adorable. Where are we going, Mommy? We're having dinner with Uncle Michael. Emma's face lit up. She adored Governor Chen. To her, he was just Uncle Michael, the nice man who sent her books and always had time to listen to her stories. I dressed in a burgundy cocktail dress I'd bought for State Department functions. Professional but elegant. I wanted to look polished. We arrived at the Watermark at 6:45 p.m. The restaurant was one of the most prestigious in the city, the kind of place where senators and CEOs dined, where business deals were made over expensive wine. The maitre d' greeted us immediately. Miss Crawford? The governor is expecting you. Right this way. He led us through the main dining room to a private corner table with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. The best table in the restaurant. Governor Chen stood as we approached. He was in a tailored suit, looking every bit the state's chief executive. His security details stood discreetly nearby. Natalie. Emma. He scooped Emma up in a hug. She giggled. Uncle Michael. Look at you. You're getting so big. And so beautiful.
We sat down.
The maitre d' brought a special menu for Emma. Kid-friendly options presented elegantly. A waiter immediately brought sparkling water and a basket of fresh bread. This table is incredible, I said. The owner is a good friend. When I mentioned I wanted the best table for dinner with my goddaughter, he insisted on this one. The view is spectacular at sunset. Emma was already chattering about her preschool, telling Governor Chen about her teacher and her best friend Sophie. He listened attentively, asking questions, making her feel like the most important person in the room. This, I thought, is what a grandfather should be. At 7:05 p.m., I saw my father walk into the restaurant. My father entered with Patricia and a group of about 12 people. I recognized a few faces from his country club. Patricia was wearing an expensive designer dress and too much jewelry. She was laughing loudly at something one of the guests had said. The maitre d' greeted them and began leading them to their table, a large party table in the center of the main dining room. They had to walk past our table to get there. I saw the exact moment my father noticed us. He stopped walking so abruptly that Patricia nearly ran into him. His face went completely white. Emma was sitting on Governor Chen's lap, showing him a drawing she'd brought. The governor was smiling, completely engaged, while his security detail stood nearby. My father's eyes moved from Emma to Governor Chen to me. His mouth opened and closed. Patricia noticed his reaction. Robert? What's wrong? He didn't answer. He just stared. Governor Chen looked up, still holding Emma. He smiled politely. Good evening. My father took a step toward our table. Immediately, one of the governor's security agents moved to intercept him. Sir, please maintain your distance. That's my daughter. My father stammered. The security agent didn't move. Sir, the governor is dining privately. Please proceed to your table. Natalie. My father's voice was strained. I looked at him calmly.
That.
Happy birthday. What are you doing here? Having dinner. Emma and I were free this evening, so we made plans. Patricia had gone very pale. She was staring at Governor Chen with clear recognition. Is that the governor? Yes, I said simply. Why are you? Governor Chen smiled pleasantly, while still holding Emma. Natalie serves on my International Trade Advisory Council. We've worked together for years. And this beautiful young lady is my goddaughter. The silence was deafening. My father's guests were staring. Other diners were watching. Patricia looked like she might faint. Your goddaughter? My father repeated weakly.
Yes.
I had the honor of being asked 4 years ago. Emma, and I try to have dinner together regularly. Don't we, sweetheart? Emma nodded enthusiastically. Uncle Michael reads me stories. The security agent was still blocking my father's path. Sir, please move along. The maitre d' appeared, looking uncomfortable. Mr. Crawford, your table is ready. Please follow me. My father didn't move. He was staring at me like he'd never seen me before. Natalie, I didn't know. You never asked, Dad. Enjoy your birthday dinner. Patricia grabbed my father's arm. Robert, come on. Everyone's waiting. He let himself be led away, but he kept looking back at our table. His guests were already whispering among themselves, stealing glances at the governor. Governor Chen waited until they were seated across the room, then looked at me. You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Good.
Now, Emma was telling me about the butterfly she saw at preschool. Tell me more about that, sweetheart. Emma launched back into her story, completely oblivious to the drama that had just unfolded. I caught my father staring at us 3 more times during dinner. Each time, I simply smiled and returned to my conversation with Governor Chen and Emma. We had a wonderful meal. Emma ate her chicken fingers and vegetables like a little lady. Governor Chen told stories about his own daughter at that age. We laughed. We talked about everything and nothing. It was exactly what family dinner should be. Across the room, my father's birthday celebration looked stiff and uncomfortable. I could see Patricia saying something sharp to him. I could see him pushing food around his plate. Around 8:30, dessert arrived at our table. The chef had prepared a special chocolate creation for Emma, with a sparkler on top. Emma's delighted squeal carried across the restaurant. Several diners smiled at her joy. Governor Chen took a photo of her with her dessert. I'm sending this to my wife. She'll love it. 5 minutes later, my father's party got up to leave. I watched as Patricia ushered everyone toward the exit, her smile tight and forced. My father broke away from the group and walked toward our table. The security agent moved to intercept again, but Governor Chen waved him off. It's all right. My father stopped a few feet away. He looked at Emma, who was happily eating her chocolate dessert, then at Governor Chen, then at me. Natalie, can we talk? Outside. I glanced at Governor Chen. He nodded. We'll be fine. Take your time. I followed my father to the restaurant's entrance, away from the other guests. My father ran his hand through his hair. He looked shaken. I had no idea you knew the governor. I've known him for 7 years. And he's Emma's godfather? Yes. Why didn't you tell me? I looked at him for a long moment. When would I have told you, Dad? During one of the 4 times you've seen Emma in her entire life? During our monthly phone calls where you ask about the weather and immediately hand the phone to Patricia? When, exactly, was I supposed to mention that my daughter has a godfather who actually shows up for her? He flinched. You've never asked about my work. You've never asked about Emma's life. You send birthday gifts and Christmas presents and think that makes you a grandfather. But you've never actually been interested in who we are or what we do. That's not fair. It's completely fair. You uninvited your granddaughter from your birthday dinner because she'd ruin the atmosphere. You sent me a text saying you didn't need our drama. And tonight, you walked into this restaurant expecting a sophisticated evening without the inconvenience of your granddaughter. Instead, you found her having dinner with the governor of our state, who values her enough to clear his schedule on a Saturday night. I didn't know. That's the problem, Dad. You didn't know because you never asked. You decided who I was years ago, the disappointment daughter with the government job and the inconvenient child. You never looked deeper because you weren't interested. Patricia appeared in the doorway. Robert, everyone's waiting in the cars. He waved her off without looking at her. Give me a minute. She left, but I could see her watching through the glass. Natalie, I made a mistake. I see that now.
Do you?
Or are you just embarrassed that your guests saw your daughter dining with the governor while you were treating her like she wasn't good enough for your birthday party? It's not like that. Then what is it like? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, quietly, "I've been a terrible father." The admission surprised me. I've been so focused on my life with Patricia, on my business, on maintaining this image of success, that I didn't see what I was losing. I didn't see you.
I didn't see Emma.
I just saw complications that didn't fit into my perfect life. And now I'm standing outside the best restaurant in the city, watching through the window as the governor of our state treats my granddaughter better than I ever have. And I'm realizing what an absolute fool I've been. I didn't say anything. "Can I fix this?" he asked. "Is there any way to fix this?" "I don't know, Dad. What I know is that you hurt me. You hurt Emma, even if she's too young to understand it. You chose Patricia's vision of a perfect adult evening over your granddaughter's presence. You called her, that kid, and me dramatic for wanting her included in family events. I know. I was wrong. Being wrong isn't enough. You have to actually do the work to change. And I don't know if you're willing to do that." Patricia knocked on the glass. She pointed at her watch. My father ignored her. "What would it take," he asked, "to give me another chance?"
Time.
Effort. Consistency. Showing up. Not just gifts on birthdays, but actual presence in Emma's life. Learning about my work instead of dismissing it. Treating us like we matter. I can do that. We'll see. He nodded slowly. Can I say goodnight to Emma? Before you leave?"
I thought about it.
"You can ask. But if she's not interested, you don't push." Understood. We walked back into the restaurant. Governor Chen saw us coming and said something to Emma. She looked up. My father approached slowly. The security agent watched but didn't interfere. "Hi, Emma," my father said quietly. Emma looked at him, curious but reserved. "Hi. I'm sorry I haven't visited more. I'd like to change that. Would that be okay with you?" Emma looked at me. I nodded. She turned back to my father. "Okay.
Great.
Maybe we can have ice cream sometime. Just you and me and your mom." "I like ice cream." "Me too." It was a small moment, but it was something. Governor Chen stood. "We should probably head out. It's getting late for this young lady." He shook my father's hand. "Mr. Crawford, happy birthday. You have a remarkable daughter and an extraordinary granddaughter. I hope you'll take the time to know them." My father nodded, too overwhelmed to speak. We said our goodbyes. The governor's security detail escorted us to our car. Emma fell asleep in her car seat within 5 minutes, exhausted from the excitement. As I drove home, my phone buzzed with a text from my father. "Thank you for letting me say goodnight to Emma. I meant what I said. I want to do better. I will do better. I'm sorry it took this long to see what was right in front of me." I didn't respond immediately. I'd heard promises before. But maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. The next morning, I woke to 17 missed calls and 12 voicemails. Most were from my father. A few from Patricia. One from my aunt. I listened to my father's first. "Natalie, it's Dad. I couldn't sleep last night. I kept thinking about dinner, about Emma, about everything I've missed. I want to talk more. Please call me when you can." The second, "It's me again. I know it's early.
I'm sorry.
I need you to know that I'm serious about changing. I'll do whatever it takes." Patricia's voicemail was different. "Natalie, this is Patricia. I need you to understand that last night was very embarrassing for your father. His guests asked questions all evening about why he didn't know his daughter was connected to the governor. I hope you're happy with the spectacle you created." I deleted that one immediately. My aunt's message was supportive. "Natalie, your Uncle Dave and I heard about the birthday dinner from your father this morning. He called at 7 a.m., completely distraught. I think you really shook him. Whatever you did, it was exactly what he needed. Call me when you can." I called my aunt first. "Natalie." "Oh, honey, what happened last night?" I explained the whole situation. The uninvitation. The text. The dinner with Governor Chen. My aunt was silent for a moment. Then she started laughing. "You had dinner with the governor? While your father's birthday party was happening at the same restaurant." "It was a coincidence," I said innocently. "Like hell it was." "Oh, this is perfect. Your father has been insufferable for years, acting like he's so successful, so important. And meanwhile, his daughter is advising the governor on international trade policy. This is beautiful. I wasn't trying to embarrass him. Yes, you were. And he deserved it. He uninvited his granddaughter from his birthday. What did he expect? We talked for a while longer. She promised to call my father and reinforce that he needed to make real changes. I spent the rest of Sunday avoiding my father's calls. I needed time to process, to decide what I wanted. Monday morning, a package arrived at my State Department office. Inside was a handwritten letter from my father and a photo album. The letter read, "Natalie, I spent all day Sunday going through old photo albums, looking for pictures of you. I found hundreds. You at your 5th grade science fair. You at your high school graduation. You at college. But I couldn't find a single photo of us together from the last 10 years. That's when it hit me. I haven't been present. Not really. I've sent gifts and made phone calls and convinced myself I was doing enough. But I haven't been a father. And I certainly haven't been a grandfather. Seeing you at the watermark, watching Emma with the governor, it was like scales fell from my eyes. I saw what I'd been missing. I saw what I'd thrown away by prioritizing my image, my marriage, my comfort over you and Emma. I can't undo the last 10 years. I can't erase the hurt I've caused. But I'm asking for a chance to do better. Not just promises, actual change. I've scheduled a meeting with a family therapist. I want to understand how I became this person and how to be better. I'd like you to join me for a session if you're willing. I've also cleared my calendar for the next 3 months to make time for Emma. I want to be the grandfather she deserves. I want to read her stories, take her to the park, be present. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm asking for the chance to earn it. Love, Dad. The photo album contains spaces for new photos. Photos we'd take together. The first page had a note. New memories. Starting now. I sat at my desk, holding the letter, and cried. It's been 3 months since my father's birthday dinner. He's kept his word. We've had 5 family therapy sessions. The first 2 were brutal, lots of tears, lots of hard truths. But they've helped. We're learning to communicate. We're addressing old wounds. He's seen Emma 11 times. Real visits, not just drop-bys. He's taken her to the zoo, to children's museums, to the park. He reads to her every Tuesday evening via video call. He asks about her day. Last week, he asked if he could come to her preschool Valentine's Day party. She was thrilled. Patricia has been mostly absent from these efforts. She attends some therapy sessions, but remains distant with Emma. I don't think she'll ever be the grandmother I'd hoped for. But that's okay. Emma has my mother and she has Governor Chun and his wife. My father and I are slowly rebuilding. It's not perfect. There are still moments of tension, still old patterns that resurface. But there's effort now. Genuine effort. Last month he asked about my work, really asked. I spent an hour explaining the International Visitor Leadership Program, my role on the Governor's Advisory Council, the impact of cultural exchange on diplomatic relations. He listened. Actually listened. I'm proud of you, he said when I finished. I should have said that years ago. You've built something meaningful. Something that matters. It was the first time he'd said that in a decade. Governor Chin has become even more involved in Emma's life. He and his wife invited us to the governor's mansion for Emma's 5th birthday. She felt like a princess. The photo of Emma blowing out her candles with the governor and First Lady singing to her is one of my favorites. My father saw the photo on social media. He called immediately. I should have been there, he said. You were uninvited from that too. I reminded him gently. I know. And I deserve to be. But next year, I'd like to be included. If that's okay with you. We'll see how the next 9 months go. But, yeah, maybe. Last week, my father invited Emma and me to Sunday brunch. Just the 3 of us. We met at a family-friendly restaurant, his choice. He'd researched places with good kids' menus. Emma brought her favorite stuffed animal to show him. He listened patiently as she explained the animal's entire backstory. After we ordered, he pulled out an envelope. I wanted to give you this. Inside was a check for $25,000 and a letter. The letter explained that he'd set up an education fund for Emma. The check was the first deposit. He'd contribute annually. "I know I can't buy my way back into your lives," he said. "But I want Emma to have opportunities. I want to support her future." I looked at the check, then at him. "This is generous. Thank you." It's not about generosity. It's about being a grandfather. Being family. Emma was coloring on the kids' menu, oblivious to the conversation. "Dad, can I ask you something?" "Anything." What changed? Was it really just seeing us at the restaurant? Or was it something else? He was quiet for a long time. Then, it was seeing who you are. Not who I thought you were, but who you actually are. I'd spent years telling myself you were making poor choices, single motherhood, government work, modest lifestyle. I'd convinced myself I was the successful one, and you were struggling. And then I saw you dining with the governor. I saw my granddaughter being held by one of the most powerful men in the state, who clearly adores her. I saw the way the restaurant staff treated you, with respect, with deference. I realized I didn't know my own daughter. And worse, I'd never tried to. That must have been hard to accept. It was devastating, but necessary. I needed that wake-up call. I needed to see that success isn't just about money or status or image. It's about impact, relationships, substance. You have all three. I just had image. Emma looked up. "Grandpa, want to color with me?" His face softened. "I'd love to, sweetheart." He spent the next 20 minutes coloring a princess with Emma, following her very specific instructions about which crayons to use. I watched them together and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. It's been 6 months since the birthday dinner incident. My father and I have dinner every other Sunday with Emma. He never misses. He calls Emma twice a week. He came to her preschool graduation and cried during her little song performance. He's learning. Slowly, imperfectly, but genuinely. Patricia remains distant, but my father has stopped letting her opinions dictate his relationship with us. When she complained about spending too much time with the kid, he told her Emma was his granddaughter and would be a priority. I heard they're in couples therapy now, too. Governor Chin remains Emma's devoted godfather. Last month, he and his wife invited us to spend a weekend at their family cabin. Emma learned to fish. The governor taught her patiently, celebrating every small catch. My father saw the photos and called. "I should learn to fish," he said. "So, I can take Emma sometime." "She'd like that," I said. Next month is my father's birthday again. He's turning 61. He called last week to discuss it. I'm not doing the big party this year. Patricia wanted to, but I said no. I'd rather do something small. Just family. You, me, Emma, your mother if she's comfortable, maybe your aunt and uncle. What about Patricia? She can come if she wants. But this year, I'm focused on the people who matter. The people I almost lost. What changed your mind about the big party? Last year, I had 60 people celebrate my birthday, and I couldn't tell you what we talked about or what it meant. This year, I want to remember every moment. I want Emma to blow out the candles. I want to actually celebrate with people I love. We can do that. And Natalie? Yeah. Thank you.
For not giving up on me. For giving me another chance.
I know I didn't deserve it. You're putting in the work, Dad. That's what matters. Emma's birthday is in 3 weeks. She's turning 5. She's already planned the entire party. It involves princesses, a bounce house, and everyone I love. When she made her guest list, she included Grandpa Robert, without hesitation. That's the moment I knew we'd turned a corner. She didn't see him as the grandfather who'd excluded her.
She saw him as family.
Because he'd finally shown up. Governor Chin called yesterday. I got Emma's birthday invitation. I wouldn't miss it for the world. How's your father doing with all this? Better.
He's really trying.
Good. Everyone deserves a second chance. Even grandfathers who forget what's important. He definitely forgot. But I think he's remembering now. That's all we can ask.
The end.
Sometimes people need to see who you really are before they can value you. My father thought I was a struggling single mother with a modest government job. I was actually advising the governor on international policy while raising an incredible daughter. He thought excluding Emma would give him an elegant evening. Instead, it showed him everything he'd been missing. The governor didn't make me successful. He just saw what my father couldn't, that I already was. Sometimes the best tables aren't given to the people who demand them. They're given to the people who deserve them. And that night at the Watermark, Emma and I deserved the best table in the house. My father just needed to see it to believe it.